Behind the glittering smiles and red carpet perfection, many Golden Age Hollywood stars lived secret lives that studios worked desperately to hide. Here are 10 classic Hollywood icons whose real stories were far darker, or stranger, than their public images. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was one of classic Hollywood's most carefully manufactured stars. Tall, handsome, and effortlessly masculine, he was promoted as the ultimate romantic leading man, starring opposite actresses like Doris Day in a string of wildly successful films. Behind the scenes, however, Hudson was a gay man living under intense pressure to conceal his true identity. During the 1950s and 1960s, being openly gay could instantly destroy a career, and his studio, Universal, went to great lengths to protect his image, arranging fake dates, public relationships, and even a brief marriage meant to silence rumors. The constant secrecy took a heavy emotional toll on Hudson, who reportedly struggled with loneliness and fear of exposure. His private life became tragically public in 1985, when he announced he was dying of AIDS, becoming one of the first major celebrities to do so. His death not only shocked fans but also brought unprecedented attention to the AIDS crisis, forever changing Hollywood's relationship with truth and image. Judy Garland. To the public, Judy Garland was the embodiment of joy, innocence, and talent, America's beloved girl next door whose voice could lift spirits during the darkest times. Behind the scenes, however, her life was tightly controlled and deeply damaging. Signed by MGM as a child, Garland was subjected to extreme studio discipline. Executives obsessively monitored her weight, restricted her diet, and placed her on a punishing schedule of long workdays with little rest. To keep her performing, doctors prescribed stimulants to stay awake and sleeping pills to force rest, creating a cycle of dependency that followed her into adulthood. Garland also struggled with anxiety, depression, and a constant fear of failure, intensified by the pressure to remain perfect. As she grew older, the studio that once profited from her talent labeled her difficult and unreliable. Despite her immense success, Garland's private life was marked by emotional pain, addiction, and exploitation, revealing the dark cost of Hollywood's golden illusion. Cary Grant. Cary Grant was the very definition of classic Hollywood perfection, charming, confident, impeccably dressed, and seemingly unbreakable. Yet behind the polished exterior was a man plagued by deep insecurity, anxiety, and unresolved childhood trauma. Born Archibald Leach in England, Grant grew up in poverty and emotional neglect, experiences that haunted him long after fame found him. In the 1950s and 1960s, at a time when mental health was rarely discussed, Grant made the shocking decision to undergo LSD psychotherapy, then an experimental treatment. He openly spoke about taking the drug under medical supervision to confront his fears, emotional numbness, and identity struggles. Grant later said the therapy helped him dissolve the rigid persona he had built for the screen and better understand himself. While audiences saw effortless charm, Grant was constantly battling self-doubt and a sense of emotional distance in his personal relationships. His willingness to seek unconventional healing revealed a vulnerable man beneath Hollywood's most flawless mask. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was one of classic Hollywood's most powerful and glamorous figures, known for her commanding screen presence, immaculate style, and fierce ambition. To the public, she represented strength, sophistication, and success, a woman who rose from poverty to become an Oscar-winning star. Behind closed doors, however, her private life appeared far more troubling. In 1978, Crawford's adopted daughter, Christina Crawford, published the explosive memoir Mommy Dearest, alleging years of emotional and physical abuse. The book portrayed Crawford as controlling, volatile, and obsessed with image, describing rigid household rules and moments of terrifying rage. While some family members and Hollywood insiders disputed parts of Christina's account, the memoir permanently damaged Crawford's legacy and shocked fans who idolized her. Whether exaggerated or not, the revelations exposed the immense pressure Crawford placed on herself and those around her to maintain perfection. Her story highlights how Hollywood glamour often masked unresolved trauma, control, and fear lurking behind closed doors. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was beloved worldwide for his iconic, tramp, character, blending humor with pathos to become one of cinema's greatest legends. Audiences admired his charm, wit, and ability to make them laugh while reflecting social realities. Off-camera, however, Chaplin's life was far more complicated and controversial. Throughout his career, he faced multiple scandals involving relationships with very young women, some of which led to paternity claims and bitter legal disputes. His personal choices, often considered scandalous even by contemporary standards, attracted intense media scrutiny. Adding to the turmoil, Chaplin's leftist political views and outspoken criticism of capitalism drew suspicion during the Red Scare era, culminating in the U.S. government revoking his re-entry permit in 1952 while he was abroad. Forced to settle in Switzerland, Chaplin continued making films but remained a figure shrouded in controversy. His life demonstrates the sharp contrast between his public persona as a comedic genius and the turbulence, secrecy, and judgment he faced in private.